Hello. Right, we're live. Good to see you guys. Nice to be back with you after a week off without all the questions. I realised that on Instagram I didn't tell anyone it was happening in advance, so sorry about this if you missed it, if you watched this on catch up because you didn't know it was happening. But over on YouTube, hopefully we've got a few of you already lined up. In fact, I can see a few questions that have popped up. I've only got half of your question, Rich, from Mitch. If you want to do that one again, hopefully I'll see the full thing. Abdallah says, happy Christmas, sir. I like your tree. Limited days until Christmas. Yeah, I thought, look, if I've got a tree in my office, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it, to me to put it in the back of the video shot as well. So we can all we can all enjoy what's going on there. This is my kind of Christmas jumper. I don't think it's a Christmas jumper. I think it's a wintry jumper, but if I wear it any time other than December the 1st to December the 25th, I just get abuse from people that why am I wearing a Christmas jumper out of Christmas? So I'm going to maximize it now. Take advantage of wearing it for you guys right now. Should have made this a Christmas party, shouldn't we? We should have been our little kind of Ask Andy Christmas Q&A Christmas party. Anyway, if you've got a question for me today, whack it in the comments over here on Instagram, over there on YouTube. I would do my best to answer it. And I could probably find all sorts of things to chat about as well if we are if you want to just lurk in the background. There's always plenty I can say. Quick hello to the people we've got over on Instagram. We've got Kleber, we've got Grace, we've got Paul Vogima. I'm always bad at reading these usernames. They're so small. But anyway, Afans, we've got Nate, we've got Niall, we've got Stephen, we've got the Complaints Resolver, we've got Law Stuff, we've got Sarah Kate and Barry Bear. Lovely to have you guys watching. Sustainability's joined as well. Lovely to see you all. Foya says hello on YouTube. David says hi, Andy. Mini Mad says happy Christmas jumper day. Nadine says hi all. Swamp Thing says evening, Andy and all. Right. So any questions, guys? I've got this half a question here from Rich. It's a bit annoying that I haven't got the full thing, because if I did, I'd be able to answer that one straight off. So tell you what, if you guys haven't got any questions for me right at this moment, if you're waiting to ask them, what can I tell you about what's been going on? You might have noticed over on YouTube and on the blog since our last live video, updates on the current accounts and updates on savings accounts. There's lots of stuff there. Oh, hang on, we've got some questions here. Right. Compounding Investor says hello as well. Frank says evening. Nice to see you guys. So, right. Mini Mad says, what are the pros and cons of using a comparison site for mortgages? So, I think it's well worth, if you're looking for a new mortgage, to use a comparison site. Absolutely. It gives you a sense of what's out there. It gives you an idea of what deals might be available. You want to obviously be looking at when you're comparing them. This is really important when you're comparing a mortgage, not just the interest rate, because you need to factor in as well if there's a fee that's being put on there. Sometimes called a booking fee, sometimes an arrangement fee. They give different names for it. And sometimes the one with the lower mortgage rate, interest rate, but zero fee. No, sorry, the one with the lower interest rate but the higher fee won't be as good as the one with a slightly higher interest rate but with a booking fee. And obviously you can work out all sorts of different combinations. Now, when I've looked at comparison sites for mortgages before, often, and I can't say every single one of them has this because there's a load of them out there, but often there'll be a little filter or a little toggle you can go to which compares the total cost of that mortgage over the period of the actual deal you're looking at. So if it's a 2-year fix, it will work out what your monthly repayments would be for the 2 years based on the interest rate there. Obviously, you have to put in what your equity is and all that kind of stuff in there. What that is, and it also will factor in that booking fee. So let's say that booking fee was £1,000 and it was a 2-year fix. It would divide that £1,000 by 24 and add it on to what that mortgage payment would be. So that's really, really important. That's the way to use a mortgage comparison site. Like I said, the big negative is if you don't do that, it can sometimes be a bit confusing, a bit hard to work out what the best deal is for you. Now, that is obviously still quite surface level. As with any comparison site, whether you look at insurance or mobile phones and things, you do obviously want to make sure that when you click through or when you look at expanded details, you have got all the information that you need. Sometimes, excuse me, you might find with a mortgage example, it's important to you that you can make unlimited overpayments. And that might not be available to you on that deal. So you might actually want to go for one which is slightly more expensive, but gives you that flexibility. All that kind of stuff's really important. The other sort of negative I would say on comparison sites for mortgages, in terms of just using them, is if you are someone who has specialist circumstances, that maybe that's your income, maybe you've been put on furlough, maybe the property is above a shop, it's a flat above a shop or something, anything that's a little bit different, you're not going to necessarily know what the deals are. You look at those deals, but they might not be for you. You might actually want to talk to a mortgage broker, a mortgage advisor, because they'll have a much, much better sense of like lender A over here is more likely to accept you as a customer, more likely to give you a mortgage, an agreement in principle, than those guys over there. So that's the other thing you have to bear in mind if you do that. But if you're just generally like you've got a good credit rating and you have looked around at all the different mortgage deals out there, then potentially you can just go straight through to them. You don't need to use a broker at all. But hopefully that answered your question, Mini Mad. What else we've got going on here? So hi to Deals and Deshaun and SH, Instagram Style and Zach. Hey to all you guys and Miss KS Berry. Nice to see you guys. A couple of questions here. So Grace says, is there a way to book a private message with you to talk about personal financial advice on what I need to be doing, etc.? I try really hard, but I want to be sure I'm doing everything right. So sadly, I don't offer kind of one-to-one coaching. You're very happy to ask me sort of general questions, and I often, probably once a week, before I do this, I generally sort of go into the YouTube comments, go into the comments on the blog, go into my Instagram messages, and go through as many of the questions that you guys have sent me as I can. I'm happy to answer there, but generally they're going to be much more sort of quicker things that I can sort of quickly reply to. The bigger picture stuff, then I would actually sort of maybe think about looking for someone like a money coach. Now, this is someone who will maybe not tell you, like, get this account over here and put your money over there, or change your bills over here. Those kind of more sort of practical things. They actually might be quite good at helping you understand your relationship with money and working out some of the behavioral things that you need to change. Now, I can't recommend any of them offhand. I know some people who do this, but I would say if you're looking for one, ask around maybe for word of mouth. If anyone's used one, what their experiences were. You obviously can look on Google or you can on Instagram. Lots of people call themselves a money coach. Have a look at what their credentials are. Find out if they've got any experience, how long they've been doing it, how they trained. Are they trained? Some people could say, yeah, I'm a money coach, but they don't actually have any training in this. But there will be people there. Now, you will be paying for that service, but it might be something that's worth doing if it could potentially revolutionize how you actually approach money. I would love to be offering that service to you guys and have proper sort of like hour long sessions with you all, but I just don't have the time with all the other content that I'm provided. But any other questions, smaller questions, please do send them my way and I will do my best to answer them. Well, now is a great place to do it. Should mention actually we're here to about 7:35 today, so if you have got questions, make sure you get them in early. Right, let's jump back to the questions on YouTube because a lot of them sort of coming through now. Ad1989 says, have you or do you plan to make any videos on life or retirement planning such as pensions, life insurance, lifetime ISAs, etc.? So I have got a video on lifetime ISAs and how they work on YouTube, so check that one out. You can obviously go to the YouTube channel and look for it, or in fact, if you search lifetime ISAs explained, I think I'm one of the top results, or lifetime ISAs, Andy Clever Cash, it will come up. So that would explain how they work, both in terms of buying a property or saving for retirement. Now, I tend not to talk too much about retirement because that's an area where I think there are a lot of people do some really good work. Meaningful Money, his podcast, Pete does a podcast, that is fantastic. There's a lot of coverage there. It's worth listening to that if you're thinking about those things. But if you've got any specific questions there, I might be able to help you out right now. I might be able to give you some more sort of general, broad advice on that. I'm sure maybe at some time, excuse me, I'm really dry throat today. I'm sure at some point I will do something about some of those things. I often talk about them on the podcast, actually. So if you want to hear me talk about those things, make sure you do check out my Cash Chats podcast. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, all those kind of things. You can find it, or it's over on the blog as well. Etiosa says, hello, hi Andy. Hey Etiosa, nice to see you. Tracy says, what would you consider the best savers account for next Christmas? Great question. So if you guys have, again, on the podcast, listen to me talk about things called supermarket savings, Christmas saver schemes, or sometimes they're called Christmas stamps. And this is an idea where you put money into your sort of stamp every single month or week, however you want to do it. You add it in over the year. So when Christmas comes around again, you can cash them all out and you've got a nice whack of money, wedge of money to spend at the supermarket. There are some more generic ones that do this as well. Don't use them. I am not a fan of these at all. There are some real downsides to using them because if that place you're saving money with goes bust, your money is gone. If you need to access that money earlier than Christmas, you can't. It's locked in there. And if you want to use it somewhere else, so you've got your money, say, in a Tesco scheme, but you want to spend it at Asda, you can't. So avoid those almost completely. There are a few little loopholes, which is not really much point telling you about in detail now because they've all finished for this year. But around October, November next time, you can still use them and get a bit of a bonus. Instead, if you want to save on a regular basis, I would have a look at a regular savings account. These are not offering the interest rates they used to offer. You know, they're not as they used to be the top paying ones. They used to be fantastic. Now they're kind of middle-ish, right? They're better than you're getting easy access, but they're not massively exciting. However, what's really good about a regular or monthly saver, they go by both names, is that you put in a regular amount every single month. So you get paid and you would say transfer £50, £100, £200, whatever it is you want to do, up to the limit that that account will allow you to pay in every single month. And it means it gets you into that habit and it kind of locks it away for 12 months. So obviously, if you're thinking about next Christmas, you want to start now. You want to open one of these accounts ASAP, really, because you might want to be spending some in November. So it might even be getting a bit too late for that now as a regular saver. But if you think, yeah, at this point in December 2022, how weird to be talking about that 12 months away, then they are really, really good options. The best ones, again, a video that I did the week before last will take you through that on the blog. There's a whole list of the best savings accounts, including the regular savings accounts. But Nationwide, if you have an account with them, you can put 250 quid, I think, away every single month and you get 2% interest on that. If you don't have a linked regular saver, the Coventry Beyond Society play 1.05%. There will be others as well which allow you to take money out. You might sacrifice the interest, but it's worth looking at those. And in fact, if you're not only going to put away 50 quid a month, then the NatWest or RBS digital regular saver, you do need to have a current account with them. Maximum 50 quid every single month, but you get 3.04%. So that's the highest paying one out there. So hopefully that one is useful for you. Now, if you don't want to lock away, then look at the best easy access account. If you don't want to have that 12-month lockup, best easy access account, get the highest interest rate that you can. What else we got going on? Hi to Lucas and Darth Peter, Money Official, Run DMC. Not the Run DMC, that would be amazing, but it's not. But it's lovely to have you, Run DMC 1983. So this is a good question here from Nath. And Nath says, what's your new opinion about the changes to chip that they've just announced? So I will be doing a full review on the blog about this. And I will do a video update as well at some point. Not sure when it is, when I'll do this. Probably I would imagine in January, because some of those changes are coming in January. This is what they've said they're doing. They are, at the moment, they have got 3 different payment plans. One of them is free. It's called Chip Lite. Then you have Chip AI, and that's £1.50 every 28 days. And then you have Chip X, which is £3 every 28 days. And for each of those different tiers, you get different things. So if you want the free option, all you get is pretty much access to a savings account that pays 0.7%. Now, originally, all you got was £2,000 access. Then they put it up to 10 grand. That's now going to go up to 85k. In fact, it has gone up to 85k already. So you can put a lot of money in there and get 0.7%, which is close to the best easy access options out there right now. So that actually makes it one of the best savings accounts if you want easy access. Not the best, but one of the best. From the middle of January, they're also going to get rid of that Chip AI option. So there will just be the free option and the X version. And the free option would also include the auto-saving algorithm. Now, I love the auto-saving algorithm. I used it on Chip for a long time. When they started charging for it, I was like, well, actually, you can get exactly the same product from Plum. So instead, I would direct people to use Plum instead. But actually now, this is going to be, I think, quite good to see what Plum do to respond to this. You've now going to have a choice of Plum or Chip for this auto-saving algorithm. And this is, if you don't know about this, check out my Plum review on YouTube that explains how it works. And I've got more details elsewhere on the blog. But this is essentially where you connect your current account to Chip or Plum. And it will look at your spending, look at your income, and it will kind of use science and maths to work out exactly how much it thinks you can afford to save. And it'll go, right, actually, I think this week you can afford £2, £20, £30, whatever it might be. And in fact, sometimes you can up the level with it. So you want to be sort of a bit more aggressive with that saving, or maybe a bit more timid, a bit more cautious. And it will just move that money to a separate pot. Now, what will give Chip the advantage over Plum is that pot can be earning you 0.7%. The Plum one, I'm not sure what it is, maybe 0.3, 0.35%. Anyway, it's not as good. So that, I think, is fantastic. It's a really great way to help you save without realizing, really help you do it. If you're not great at saving and moving that money, it does it for you. Really big fan of that. However, my experience of Chip, having worked with them in terms of being able to try and negotiate special bonus deals for you guys over the years, is that these things, and actually as a customer as well, things can change quite often, quite frequently. And they've shown actually, I think, quite positive changes over the last few weeks. First upping it from 2K to 10K, and then announcing up to 85K, and then saying they're going to change and scrap the fees for the AI system. I'm going to hold off slightly, so doing the reviews and stuff and my full judgment until we actually get to January, just in case they make another change here or there, because they often seem to be doing this without a moment's notice. To my complete and utter kind of, I'm not even frustration, I was furious about this almost a year ago when they launched the Chip Plus One account. They gave me all this information. I talked to their press office about this and this, all these questions I had, wrote it all up, did a video, and then 4 hours later, they changed their mind on something. So within minutes, essentially, that video had become slightly out of date, which was really frustrating. Also, the blog post, I could update it. But yeah, that was my own personal problem I had with Chip. But really good question there. Keep an eye out for. I will give you more information as stuff comes along. What else we got going on here? So, and Ad1989 just says, are you going to talk about mortgages as well? So again, I don't do this too often. I've got a couple of videos you might want to check out on my YouTube channel already. One of them is about LTV, loan to value. This is something that people I think really underestimate, but it become a really, really important thing in helping you find the lowest interest rate, get the best deals on your mortgages. And this is about how much of your property that you own, how much equity you have in it, if you've had it for a while, or if you're a first time buyer, how much of a deposit you have up front. You want to kind of hit these different targets, and it really, really can help you get a much, much lower deal. So you check out that video if you're interested. And I've also talked about overpaying your mortgage versus investing or savings or things like that. And I'll probably due an update on that one. So that's on my list for the new year to talk about that as well. I'm sure there'll be other topics. If you have specific questions that you want me to look at on the videos, and always do just get in touch, Andy at becleveryourcash.com, or message me on Instagram at andyclevercash, and I will, if it's one that I think I can do, I have time to do, I'll add it to my to-do list. Although I should say my to-do list probably has well over sort of 100 different video ideas. And if I'm doing one a week, and some of those are kind of updates on banking and savings, you can see I'm a long way behind where I'd like to be with those. What else we got here? So, Phil says, hi Andy, I'm wanting to book a birthday getaway for my girlfriend at the end of February. Price-wise, should I do it before Christmas or last minute? So this is really interesting when you're talking about holidays. It's something that on the podcast last Friday, the Your Money This Week sort of news roundup, I talk about with my guest Laura from Financial, because it's not just about booking holidays. What would you do normally? We can't ignore COVID, and also now, Omicron. So, or Omicron, however you want to say it. So the most important thing I would say right now to anyone looking to book some kind of holiday at home or abroad, make sure you've got some flexibility. If you can, hotels at home particularly, make sure they will allow you to cancel it up until the last minute if you can, right? That's really, really important. If it's abroad, I always used to say, book your flights over here, book your hotel over here, you get the best possible price, fantastic. Everyone's a good one. As long as you've got travel insurance, you're kind of protected for stuff. Now I would say don't. Book a package. Now a package can be one of a few things. It can be a literal package where, it's Virgin Holidays, or wherever it is, it's telling you a flight and a hotel in one. It's one price. It's all bundled together. Or it could be from the same website within, is it 24 hours? You better just double check that. Obviously, it's a while since I've been speaking about this because we've not been booking holidays. But you could book your flight from, say, Expedia, and you could book your hotel in a separate booking from Expedia, but within that time zone. And that would also give you the same protection, the same ABTA protection that you would get with an actual traditional package holiday. And that's really important, because if one part of that holiday breaks down, could be the car transfer, it could be the hotel, it could be the flight, whatever it is, the whole thing is protected. So that's really, really, really important. Now, going back to what I said though, if it's at home, this getaway you're looking at, Phil, a little trick in terms of your original question, should you do it before Christmas or last minute? Why not do it both? Because as I mentioned before, if you are booking a hotel that has cancellation rights up until the last day, book now the best price you can get, and then nearer the time, have a look again. See if prices have come down. See if they have dropped. See if there's a better hotel offering you a fantastic deal so you can actually upgrade for the same price. Done this loads of times. I did it in Vegas years ago where we booked a perfectly good hotel on the Strip, the Flamingo, at a perfectly decent price. And then 2 days before we went, I have a quick look, see what's going on. Managed to get a much nicer hotel, the Aria, with loads of free thrown in stuff like some credit to use in restaurants and room service and things like that. And it was hardly any more money. It was worth paying that extra money because it was a fraction of what it would have been. So we got a lovely experience, and I was happy to pay more, cancel that other hotel. It even happened the weekend just gone. I was in London for various sort of different things. Had a few different hotels. I had a travel lodge booked for Sunday night because there were no trains back up north on Sunday. Booked it for like 50 quid, but I gave myself that flexibility. I could have saved a bit of cash if I'd sort of locked in, but I wanted to give myself that flexibility, and then booked another travel lodge on the Friday for half the price, for 35 quid. And it was a better one, closer to the station, more up to date. So yeah, that was my top tip for booking stuff. Hopefully that was helpful for you, Phil. I hope you were able to get somewhere nice for you and your girlfriend at the end of February. And obviously it is abroad. Make sure you've got travel insurance. Really important. What else we've got going here on here? Hi to Aseo and views from Camberwell and Isabel and Melina. SEO Saxo says, what is the best savings account for a sinking fund? I'm trying to save for a few holidays next year. So you might not all be familiar with the term sinking fund. It's an interesting one. And sometimes a lot of these terms are kind of interchangeable, how they're used. Essentially, it's something that you are saving for that you know that you're going to be saving. It's not an emergency savings pot. It's like, right, this is, as SEO Saxo is doing for their holiday, calling it a sinking fund. The money goes in there towards that particular products, but you might just call it savings. So there are some different options. Depends what you've already got, how complicated you want to get. But if you want to keep it separate, and that's what's quite good about a sinking fund in lots of ways, or a specific savings goal, having that money properly locked away so it can't be eaten up by a different savings goal or just general spending, then I would possibly look, well, first of all, I'd look at the Virgin Money M Plus current account. Now you can have a number of these. I'm not sure it's worth applying for lots of these because if you're going to apply for multiple current accounts, I would look at some others first of all, which pay you a lot more. But that one you can save up to £1,000 in the current account, and you can get 2.02% on the interest up to that grand. So if you're saving along, you're not going to be really going to get more interest than that up to £1,000. It's a great place to put your cash. If you've already got that, then your rates are going to kind of drop down a little bit more. But you obviously can have as many savings accounts as you want. And if you're happy managing that, that's no bad thing. If you feel you're going to get a bit confused, if like, oh, I've got a Synergy one over here, and I've got a Marcus one over here, and I've got this one over here, if that's going to be too much for you, then I would probably actually stick with the Virgin Money M Plus current account, because it does allow you to have, in its extra savings account that comes with the current account, it's only 0.35%, which isn't great, okay? But within that, you can block that up into separate different pots as well, a bit like you would with Monzo or Starling. So you can allocate each different part of that account with a name and still get some interest. Now, hopefully, there will be better rates elsewhere that will let you do the same thing. But at the moment, I think that's probably the best bet for that. Or you could open up the current accounts from Virgin as well and do kind of the same thing, but sort of fudging it slightly. Hope that was useful. What else we got here? So Rich from Mitch has got a question in two parts, which is a bit confusing here. I've got the same second half of the question twice, but not the first bit. So see if I can work out what Rich is saying here. So I'm new to credit cards, not looking to mess with them, but I want the rewards. Right, can I buy something and then pay back the next day to avoid the fees, or does it have to be the end of the month? Okay, right, okay, so I can do this one. I'm not sure what the rest of your question was, but this one we can do. So, yes, you can pay off your credit card almost straight away if you want to. So let's say you put £100 on there with purchase. You could then go into your banking app and then transfer the money, or your credit card app and transfer the money, however you do it, right? You can pay it off straight away. So the money is gone from your current account. You can't spend it twice, so to speak. It's gone and your credit card thing comes down. Now, if that is helps you and makes you feel more comfortable, feel confident in how you would have a credit card, so you're not going to get carried away, you're not going to accidentally get into debt, then that's brilliant. There is a warning though that I want to give you here, is because if you also want to use that credit card to help boost your credit score, then it makes sense to leave your money, what you owe in that credit card, until the statement comes through, and then pay it. Because when the credit card company reports to the credit reference agency, and again, I've got a whole video about this on YouTube from about, 2 or 3 weeks ago, whole article on the blog about how to improve your credit score. So do check those out if you want to know more about this. If you are letting that happen. When it reports that, look, there's this much money on the card and then this much is paid off. Whereas if you pay it off on a kind of ad hoc basis, a regular basis, it might be, look, there's nothing on the card and nothing being paid off. Not as clear cut as that. It might still register that stuff's being used. But if you do want to use it to boost your credit score, that's worth thinking about. So my workaround to combine those two things is to have a current account like Monzo or Starling, which does have that kind of separate pots or spaces feature. So what you can do instead is you can call that pot credit card. And when you make a payment with your, let's say it's an Amex cashback credit card, you pay your 100 quid on that. You then go into your main current account, you transfer that 100 quid into the credit card pot, and then that is where the direct debit to pay the bill comes from. So you're always going to be able to ensure you have enough money to cover that credit card debt. The direct debit will ensure that you always pay it off every single month and don't get charged any sort of late fees or penalties for that. And you get the benefits that come with the cashback credit card. So hopefully that was useful. I mean, obviously I could probably talk about that for 20 minutes, but hopefully that was useful for you guys. So Nadine says, does it hurt credit score to check it on different agencies? No, this is one of those popular myths. Popular myths? Common myths? What am I trying to say here? You know what I say, right? This is a thing where people think, oh, when I check my credit score, that's bad for my credit score. No way. Checking your credit score is fantastic for your credit score, because every time you check your credit report, if there is anything that's wrong, you're going to spot it and you're going to get it fixed. And if it's absolutely fine, if there's nothing wrong with your credit report, but you've checked it, so what? Doesn't matter. No difference. No harm at all. So check all 3 of your credit reports. Again, I've got loads of content on this. Most of these things I've got content I can direct you to, but if you go to the website or to the YouTube and search for it, you'll hopefully find it. But how to check your credit report for free. You can do it at the 3 different credit reference agencies. You won't have to pay for this. Absolutely do that. You don't have to do it every day, every week. You don't have to do it every month. You can do it every quarter. But definitely do it before and after a credit application. So maybe the month before you're going to apply for something, and maybe give it a month after you applied, because it might take a while for it to pull through on those 3 ones. But it won't hurt you at all. Now, when it does hurt you is if you make an application, a hard application, a full application for something, a credit card, a loan, a current account, a mobile phone contract. If you do that too many times, that can hurt your credit score, bring that down and hurt your credit report underlying that, which is why it's really important to do something called an eligibility checker, particularly for credit cards, but also for loans and anywhere else that will let you do this. Overdraft, sometimes they'll let you do this. That will give you a sense in advance of if you're going to get accepted without it actually appearing on your credit report. It's only when you go, right, actually, I'm going to go for option 3. That's the one that I'm most likely to get. You make a proper full application that does a full hard search on your credit report. And that will give like a little dent on your, whether you're accepted or rejected, it will give you a little dent just because you applied for something, which will ease itself out over time. It's over a short amount of time. It's not too much to worry about. But yeah, hopefully that was useful for you. VR says, can I be eligible to get a credit card without income? It's unlikely, but go on the credit card comparison sites and put that eligibility search I mentioned just now, put your details in, and it will tell you if you're likely to get any card. And you might get a very, very low score on some. If it's 1 out of 10, there's still a 1 in 10 chance you'll get accepted. But you've got to think about, there's a 9 in 10 chance you'll get rejected. Do you want to take that risk? How desperate are you for the money from the credit card? And if you are really desperate for the money from the credit card, my sort of plea to you is just have a think, step back and think, why is that? If this is an ongoing thing that you're not able to necessarily manage the costs you have coming and debts are building up, just getting a credit card is not going to help you right now. Try and talk to free debt charities. Do not pay for debt help. Get free debt support from places like Step Change and National Debt Line, or go to Citizens Advice. And hopefully they will help you find other options that can kind of slow down the debts you already have and make them sort of easier to repay rather than get more debt as a result. Or it could just be you don't have an income right now and you want to get a credit card because you want to get the points or the Section 75 protection. That's a different matter. But that's just my little plea for you guys there. So Etiosa says, what do I think about Monzo Flex? So again, this is on my list of content to produce. I will do stuff about Monzo Flex at some point. But for those of you who don't know what it is, basically this is a buy now, pay later option that Monzo is offering. So buy now, pay later, normally associated with the likes of Klarna and Lay-Buy and ClearPay. And these are potentially quite dangerous ways to pay for things, because although I guess if you manage them properly, they might help you manage your finances in the short term. But if you use them to buy things just because, like clothes and things, which you don't necessarily need, non-essential stuff that you could just wait a month and save up for, it can lead you into a cycle of borrowing, which if you suddenly, circumstances change, you suddenly owe a huge amount of cash to all these different people you use buy now, pay later for. And potentially then you can default on those and debt collectors can come. So they aren't great. Now what's happening is it's not going anywhere at all, right? Buy now, pay later is here to stay. More and more people are using it. More and more institutions will be providing it. And Monzo is one of those with Monzo Flex. Now this works differently though to Klarna and the others, because this is actually has some form of regulation, because Monzo are regulated, right? So you will be hard credit checked when you apply for this. And there will obviously be impacts if you miss out on it. I would not use it. I don't see any advantage really of using it, and so I don't see the advantage of using the others unless you really, really sort of desperately need to borrow money on a short-term basis to pay for something that you really need right now. But yeah, I will look into it more often. It is definitely a better option in lots of ways than the Klarnas and so on, because there is that kind of affordability check. So in theory, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't be able to get it. And that's a kind of a really important thing to think about with buy now, pay later. But you're interested to know if anyone's used it, what their experiences have been so far, and why they did it. We might have time to go through that because we've only got about 5 minutes. Let's race through what we've got else. Loads of extra people here. Victoria, Journey of a Hustlepreneur. Okay. Nice one like that. Hasina, Weekend Bakery, Sidhu, Ketna, G Sweeney, Happy Light, Jane Green, Brad McAdam, Creberzo, Orange Nick, Julia Houseford, Money to the Masses, A Gooding, Mia Rossi, Selena, Sarah, A Spencer, loads of you today. It's fantastic. I should maybe not advertise I'm doing this more often. Lots of names I recognise there. Grace has said, with chip or plum, because we're talking about this earlier on. If you missed it, watch it again later. We talk about chip and plum. But Grace says, with chip or plum, can you withdraw at any point? My worry is I would need the money ASAP. Yes, there's no sort of restriction there. There might be maybe like it takes a day to come out. I know Chip's new account is slightly different to the other one, so that might be almost instant straight away. But you'll be able to get it. There's not going to be like a week to get it or 2 days to get it. It might just be like next working day, something like that. What else got? Loads more over here. Let's check out some of these YouTube ones as well. Miniman says, did I know that Zopa peer-to-peer is closing today? No, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Not surprised. Peer-to-peer has not been having a good time for a while now, and Zopa has been moving into normal savings accounts, so that kind of would make sense in lots of ways. Panzerman90 says, this is a popular question. I know Monzo and Starling are both bank apps, but which one is better? Really hard to say, because I think it comes down to personal choice. I bank with Starling. I use Starling more than I use Monzo. Partially also because my business account was with them, so it's easy to interact between the two, which is fantastic. But I really like it. It's been such a better banking experience than people have had before, such as Nationwide or Halifax or Barclays. They're the accounts I had, in my previous life, so to speak. So really, really like it. Big fan of it. But Monzo has some fantastic features as well, which could suit you better. So my tip is just download them both. It won't cost you anything. You'll be soft credit checked on both as well. So it's not going to hurt your credit report to open up both of them. And just give them a go. Try one for a week and try the other one for a week. Appreciate you won't have your direct debits and stuff coming out of it, but just try and transfer money into it. Use it for your spending that week and see which one you like best in terms of, is it the budgeting features that you get with Monzo? Some really cool things called IFTT, if this then that you can link in with Monzo, which I really like to help your savings. Or is it just some of the other kind of stuff, the nice stuff that comes with Starling? So yeah, I think this really is one of those things that they're both great, but give them a go, see what you think. Minimad, again, has got a question here. Have I heard about the new savings account that holds gold? This is something called Tally. I spoke about this in my savings account update from 5-6 days ago, whatever it was. So watch that one and you'll see my thoughts on that. And premium bonds, did I win any premium bonds this time? I won 25 quid again, which is great. I've done really well out of premium bonds this year. I'm definitely, I would say on average, between the money I've got in there, look, if I'm not at 1%, I'm kind of very close to it or even above it. So that's been better than any other places I could have put my cash in. But interestingly, when I sort of shared that on Instagram stories at the weekend, what had people done, what they got? More people hadn't won than had won. But again, that's the luck of the draw. And that might just be that you guys didn't do it this time, but maybe next month you will be lucky. But there's lots of content I've got on the premium bonds, so you fully understand what you're getting yourself in for if you're doing that. Nick Haas says, hey Andy, I just got my £130 from Santander Switch. Fantastic. I think a lot of people now will be getting their cash through. I got mine a week or so ago. It's nice to have that money come through. Really simple to do that. Sadly, that offer has ended, but I've fingers crossed it will return because that was a great one for people to get. There are, talking of bank switching offers, the Halifax one is ending next week, I think. So if you haven't taken advantage of it yet and you want to, 125 quid you can get plus £5 a month from that Halifax reward account. It's definitely worth considering that one if you're happy to switch and you've got an account that you don't want and to use anymore, that you can switch over. If you haven't taken advantage of any of these switching offers because you've only got one current account and you don't want to lose that, then just open up another current account somewhere else. Do that now, and it's there ready for when switching offers do sort of come back in force. If any of these banks come back with new ones in the new year or the spring or whatever it is, but get ahead of the game there so you can do that. What else we've got going on? So Albion says, is shopping with a debit card safe compared to using a credit card? Yeah, absolutely. There's no difference using them at all. It's contactless or it's chip and pin, whatever it is, or online. They function in exactly the same way. It's absolutely safe to use them. If you are worried about contactless, which again could be debit card or credit card, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Again, I've done a video, an article on this, so read more about it. You can get that information. But really, this idea that people are going around scanning your contactless cards and when you're on the bus or on the train, something doesn't happen, right? I wouldn't worry about that at all. In terms of consumer protection, if something costs more than £100, then the credit card will give you extra rights. Okay, so it's worth paying with a credit card on something that costs more than 100 quid. It has to be the item, not the shopping basket. So you can't have like 3 items at £33. Doesn't make a difference. It's got to be one thing that costs 100 quid or more. But you only have to pay £1 of that amount on the credit card. So sometimes like a venue hire, we did that for our wedding, put like £1 on a credit card. The rest of it was paid for from our debit card or bank transfer. They will give you that protection. Debit cards, though, do have something called chargebacks. If it costs less than that, both debit cards and credit cards, potentially you could go down the charge card route. But certainly I would look at a credit card for over 100 quid, as long as you will pay it off in full every single month. What else we've got going on here? Interesting. This is interesting from Lucas. So Lucas said he applied, the Virgin Money M Plus current account. They gave him 2 when he applied for them, but declined the 3rd application. So that's really interesting to know. Let me know as well. If you had similar experience, do say. I've definitely had people message me before saying they've got more than 10. Someone I think was on about 13 or 14 and still going. So it'd be interesting to see what's going on there. It could be they've cottoned onto it and maybe now they're going, actually, we don't want to have people having that many. I mean, they've always said there's no limit, but they treat it on an individual basis each time. So it could be they're going, right, let's really rein this back in and see how someone's using the account as well. That's one thing to consider. So Ian says, Chase Bank have been harassing me today for employment history of January 2009 to present. Do you know what they're asking for that? No, that's a weird one. I'm assuming you're talking about Chase Bank here in the UK. I'd be strange that they would be asking for your employment history going back that far, because the whole point of having a credit check when they look at that stuff is that's how they find your identity and check who you are. Maybe you're missing some other sort of information which they would use to verify you. So they want to look at your employment history, but that does seem very, very strange. Interesting to know if anyone else has experienced that as well. Right, we are running out of time here. Let me just quickly check. I won't be able to answer everything. If I haven't answered your questions, hi to everybody else who's joined on Instagram as well. I see loads of new have joined, which is great. Probably got about another 2 minutes, if that. So if I haven't answered your question today, then I will be back next Tuesday. That will be the last one we do in 2021 before we come back in 2022. So make sure they're early to ask us questions, or you can message me in the short term. You can comment on this video when it's finished, or you can send me an email or Instagram message or whatever it might be, and I hopefully will then get back to it, or if not, week after, as I say. So what else we've got going on? Let's see if I can, which are the best ones to kind of really quickly talk about right now. Andrea has said, I've literally just got a 3rd Virgin Money M Plus current account. So to show you again, it's real pot luck there. You can get more. Chris says, how much do I need to spend to keep a credit card active? Really, it can be just as little as £1. Something simple as that. And it is something worth bearing in mind that if you haven't used something for a long time, you might get a letter, or it might be a message in the app now, or an email. If you opted for paperless post, they might sort of say, well, you haven't used it, we're going to close it down unless you tell us not to. So maybe just putting a quid on something should be absolutely fine. Obviously, there might be terms and conditions to a specific card that want more, but generally, you don't have to pay anything at all. Mike's asked about offset mortgages. Probably haven't got time to go into that right now. Where else? Walter says, would I ever consider doing a best cash Lisa account, as lifetime ISA account? Not necessarily every month, but like the best bank accounts, but perhaps quarterly. Yeah, it's a good shout, actually. I should include that. I'll write that down because a lot of people will be looking at that. So it's worth sort of giving an occasional update on what's out there. Right, might have run out of time here, guys. What's this from MC? It could be interesting. So I've used John Lewis's price matching, but by the time they get around to checking the cheaper price, the shop's item is out of stock and the claim is not granted, even with screenshots. Ever happened to you? No, it hasn't happened to me, but I wouldn't be surprised that they do this, because a lot of people are applying, and sometimes the best deals do go very, very fast. My workaround for this one would be check the returns situation on the other item, the other retailer. Buy it as long as you know you can return it. And then at least you've locked in. You know you're going to get it for that price. If it's something that's like a really good deal, you know it's going to get a lot of people buying it. Then if John Lewis come back and price match it in time, fantastic. If they don't, if they refuse to, whatever reason, you haven't missed out. But again, you can return the one that you bought cheaper if John Lewis do price match. Right, I hope that was useful, guys. It's always fun to chat to you all, as ever. Back next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. That will be the last one this year. Quick favour to ask you, of course, that if you have enjoyed this, if you have found this useful, please do tell people. Please do tell your friends. Share it on social media, all that kind of stuff. It's always great to get the word out there to other people, so I can get help more and more of you. And obviously, the more likes you get, the more shares I get, the more comments I get, all that kind of stuff. It helps boost me in the algorithms as well, which is great. Fingers crossed on YouTube. It might go into 2022 because often views drop off a little bit between Christmas and New Year. I might reach 20,000 subscribers before the end of the year, which would be amazing. So if you haven't already hit subscribe, please do. If not, try and get your friends to join in as well. Right, guys, thank you so much. See you in 7 days, or find me throughout the week on all the other things that I am doing.